My name is Jillian Perrick, but my friends call me Jill. I'm a lover of all things orange chocolate. Think One Tree Hill is way better than the OC. And as a person who stutters, I strive to empower women with invisible disabilities to go after their dreams, just like I did. I'm a mindset coach specializing in imposter syndrome, helping women overcome their inner imposter with my master's in psychology and my certification in neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, EFT tapping, and time techniques. And this is the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. This podcast is for you if you're an entrepreneurial woman trying to navigate the online space with a lot of passion and a lot of uncertainty. If you feel like your ideas are unoriginal, that your message isn't necessary or important, or like you're a complete and total fraud, then you've come to the right place. This podcast will take you from imposter to empowered with ninja-like brain hacks, easy to implement strategies, and uplifting real talk to make you feel like everything you want is in reach. Find me on Instagram at yourcoachjill to let me know how much you loved this episode once you're done listening. Time to kick that inner imposter to the curb. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the pod, and I just want to share a little secret with you that the From Imposter to Empowered program is coming back in March of 2021. It's coming back. So it's coming up in about a month, and I'm about to head into the launch for it, and that includes a waitlist. And the waitlist is going to be available on this upcoming Monday, but for my podcast listeners, I actually have the link in the show notes now for you to access it. So you will be able to go to the link in my show notes when you're listening to this episode, and you'll be able to snag a spot on the waitlist that will give you $111 off the program if you decide to join, if you feel called to join. And also, if you already have the From Imposter to Empowered course, if you're a diehard JP coaching client and you have that course, then you get an additional $197 off because you have the course already. So about $308 in savings, which is pretty amazing if you have the course and the coupon code. But even if you don't have the course, you still get $111 off for being on the wait list. And here is why I'm obsessed with this program. So I ran it and I just finished that round, and it was honestly one of the most transformational programs I've ever done. I used to tell myself, like, nobody's gonna want mindset, no one's gonna want this, like there needs to be a strategy component attached to it, and no one's gonna like it or need it. And when these women came into the program and they just poured out their heart and soul, and they were honest and vulnerable, and they made amazing connections in the group, and they made amazing shifts, I realized how important it was for me to be doing this work. This program has single-handedly made me realize how important it is that I do this work and really trust that what I'm doing is changing lives. And I had this idea for this program, just like taking a walk. Hugo and I were walking outside sometime late summer. I think it was like August. And I was thinking, like, what's my next move? What's my next move? And it came to me just like that. And it was turn the From Imposter to Empowered course into your signature program. It was literally like a hallelujah type of moment where I was like, oh my God, yes, because I have a specific strategy for taking people through uncovering their subconscious negative beliefs and emotions, uncovering those, releasing them, like fully releasing them, not only within the subconscious mind, but also in your physical body as well, and then rewriting those stories to create more empowered thoughts and feelings, which then influence every part of your life. And I was so happy that the first round was so amazing, and I had some really great people in that program, and I'm so happy that the right people were in that program because it really solidified how impactful this work can be when you go all in. So the waitlist for the next round is coming up, but it's going to be at the link in my show notes as you're listening to this. And if you want to just see what it's all about, get on the waitlist in the event that you can get $111 off. And if you already have the course, you get an additional $197 off. So it's a great deal, but this program will change your life. It will inform your business for the better. It will help change the way you think about yourself and all those beliefs that you think are so hard to get rid of, and the things that you can't just get past, that inner imposter that constantly tells you that you're not worthy of making this amount of money, or you can't do this or that will all be squashed by being in this program. And I provide amazing support to my clients. Our Slack channel is just popping all the time. So you will want in this program to change your life in 2021. Link in my show notes for the waitlist for my podcast listeners. It is going to be available to the public as of this upcoming Monday, but you get access to it now. Okay, so let's get into the episode. So today I always say I'm just going to do a quick episode and it ends up being like fucking 20 minutes long, but I swear I'm going to try to keep it short this time because I know how much you guys love just getting all the episodes in when you can and just binging them kind of. But something that I noticed with some of my clients is how obsessed they get about the data. And I used to be like this as well. So when I say obsessed with the data, I say obsessed with like the metrics and the certain things regarding your business where you're looking for the result. And it's not your fault if you do this because there are a lot of people, a lot of business people, marketing people, where the numbers are important, or so they tell you, that the numbers in terms of your open rates for emails or this or that are really important, like your Instagram followers or whatever. So you know how you kind of feel like if you are going to look somebody up on Instagram and they have 20,000 or 30,000 or whatever followers, you look at them and you think, oh, like they have to be super established or whatever. I remember this one time I had somebody pitch me her Instagram services, and it was right after I had learned that even if they have a high follower count, if they don't have a lot of comments or engagement on their posts, they're probably like purchasing followers. And I realized that and I was like, dude, this is a scam. So if you ever feel like a fraud, you're definitely not, because if you're scamming people, then obviously you are, but I can guess if you're listening to this podcast that you're actually not. Anyways, I don't know where that tangent came from, but there it was. So when it came to being obsessed about the metrics, it's because people think that the numbers mean something. They think that the numbers mean that things are working or that they're not working. Because if they're not working, they want to be able to change it up because they think that that equates money. So for example, Instagram followers, how much engagement your Instagram posts get, how many people are watching your stories. People love to break it down, even with regards to like sales calls too. So I've had coaches who are like, okay, so if you have 20 sales calls, let's see what your conversion rate is. And I would always end up feeling really shitty because I'd be like, it seems like a really low number. And it's not a bad way to do things. I think we're just so conditioned by society and by school and everything to like really look at the numbers and make them mean something about you. But when you're starting out or even in the beginning stages of your business, like I don't think anyone is going to be super happy with the numbers, because when you're doing this online business thing, sometimes the numbers don't matter. You could have 10 sales calls in a month, but 9 of them, the person was not a good fit, and thank God they weren't. And the one person who you did sign was a perfect fit, but like, if you were just looking at the numbers, you would think, wow, those are really terrible odds, and you would make it mean something about you. Whereas it probably was a good thing that you didn't sign those 9 terrible people, because, well, let's say you're a coach. If the coaching relationship wasn't good, you would end up probably thinking, I'm a bad coach, I'm not supposed to be doing this. So who really gives a fuck about the numbers? And same thing with like your Instagram metrics or your TikTok metrics or whatever. Like, it's exciting when you're getting a lot of views or a lot of engagement or whatever. But I've had clients who have been really upset if they upload a post and they only get a couple of likes, or if they've uploaded a story and only 20 people looked at it or whatever, or if somebody didn't vote on their poll. And you already know what I'm gonna fucking say, and that is the numbers don't mean anything unless you make them mean something. If you are always comparing yourself against the average, you yourself will always be average. And what I mean by that is if you're constantly looking to see what other people are doing and to see what numbers are normal, then you are going to constantly compare yourself against that and measure yourself against that. And honestly, that to me doesn't sound like a good thing. And it also doesn't take you to the means of an end where we want you to end up, which is with a successful, thriving business. So how is it helping you constantly looking at the numbers and shaming yourself, making yourself feel bad and feel like I'm not where I need to be? Because usually if you were to ask somebody like, how good am I doing based on the numbers? It's like, okay, well, a ton of other things need to come into effect, like how long have you been doing this for? What's your niche market? And like even that, like how fucking boring is that to constantly be looking at the numbers and the comments and whatever and think, oh, I'm doing good because this post got 30 comments. You know what I mean? You could have an Instagram post that is really, really funny, like something like a meme or something, and you could get so much engagement on it, like comments and shares and everything. But if you don't get a client from it, like technically, yes, it looks good, but is it the means to an end that you're intending to do? And in the same regard, you could upload a post that just really, really spoke to one person. And even if you don't get any likes or any comments or whatever, if that one person was like, this post really spoke to me, even though I didn't engage with it, I want to work with you. And you could easily get a client that way because literally anything is possible. Whenever I have new clients who are new to this space who are like, I just feel like I'm talking into the void and nobody's listening. It's like, how do you know that nobody's listening? You think that because somebody is not directly sending you something on Instagram saying, I love what you're doing, that they don't love what you're doing. But a lot of people are just silently lurking. I have people who reach out to me constantly who I haven't heard from in a really long time, who are like friends or school friends or whatever. And they'll be like, I've been looking at your stories, you're doing such a good job. And I'll be like, oh shit, like I didn't even realize that you're paying attention to me. But the thing is how do you know and how can you measure yourself against these average metrics that are based off of things that just what other people are doing? You're not average. You're not somebody who wants to be an average person, because what are you making the average mean? And then if you're not reaching above the average, you're probably like, oh, I guess I'm just not good enough. But anybody that has really high engagement numbers or a big community or whatever, or tons of income, is obviously happy with their exposure and what's happening, but they're not meticulously tracking each number. And they're also somebody who had to start somewhere. So even the person that has 20,000 real organic followers who are engaging with their stuff, they had a day one where they started posting and people weren't really engaging and didn't really give a fuck. But you can't get to that point, to a successful point, without all of the in-between. And I know that I've talked about that before, but I think it's something that we forget, because in the moment we get so consumed with the numbers, we get so consumed with this person isn't watching, or this person doesn't care, or I haven't gotten any comments on this post, I guess it's not a good post. I've written some really good posts that haven't gotten a ton of engagement, but they've come from my heart and they're actually a super good post. But it doesn't matter. Like, the right person is going to see it and they're going to be like, this spoke to me, and that is going to be compounded onto their reasoning as to why they want to work with me. And then they'll show up either in a group program or they'll buy my course. But if I was so fucking hell-bent on holding on to those numbers, I would constantly be disappointed. I would constantly be looking for what's going wrong instead of thinking about what's going right in my business. And I've talked about negative versus positive expectation before, like leaning into that positive expectation of, even if my post doesn't get a ton of engagement, I know it's speaking to somebody, and that's why I'm going to keep posting what I'm posting, instead of like, this post didn't get the 10 comments that I wanted to get on it, I guess that means it's not good enough. Like, who says it's not good enough? Again, if you are comparing yourself against the average, which there is no real average in life, because there's so many different people who do so many different things and have so many different results, which leads me to talk about the programming that we all have regarding how to do things, like how to run a business. For example, I'm a coach and I usually coach people who also have coaching businesses. And I had a client say like, okay, so I'm gonna do a freebie. I need to think of a freebie for these 3 different programs that I'm doing. And I was like, why? Like, why the fuck would you create 3 freebies? Like, what's your end result that you're wanting to create? And she said, I want people in this program. And I was like, okay, so you're going to create a freebie, which then they're going to download, which then you're going to put them on a wait list, which then they're going to get on the wait list. Like, it just seems like it's a lot of work, but that was how she knew how to do launches. And again, we can get caught up in that employee mindset that this is the way that this person has done it and they were successful at it, so now I must do that to be successful. But there are a lot of successful people who do a lot of different things, and it doesn't fucking matter because you are the CEO and you have to learn to trust your own process, and that you will be doing another launch in the future or another this or another that, and you will always be improving, you'll always be learning. But this is hard to do if you don't trust yourself. It's hard to do if you don't innately know that you will be successful one day and that all your manifestations and all the things that you want are going to come to fruition. If you are so focused on the numbers, it honestly is a way to avoid your own trust in yourself, a way to deflect and tell yourself it's not working, it's not working. But what does that do for you? How does telling yourself that it's not working do anything for you and your success? It's just going to discourage you. It's going to make you feel shameful. It's going to make you not want to open up about your business or talk about it because you feel like it's not working. And it's that negative expectation that can send you down and through the imposter syndrome cycle, telling you that you're not good enough, you're not doing enough. Fuck the numbers. Literally, fuck the numbers. Just speak from your heart, do your content, show up on stories, be yourself, be your authentic self, work through your shit, and join the From Imposter to Empowered program because it'll help you work through all this shit, and you will realize how much you just really need to trust yourself so you can keep going and keep creating the content and keep showing up and keep being there for when everything begins to open up for you. Remember, compound interest. Everything you're doing is building on top of each other. I have a slew of Instagram lives that I've done and Instagram stories that I've done that I was like, holy fuck, I'm doing all these stories and all these lives and it feels like nobody is biting, that nobody cares, etc. And now I have a bunch of YouTube videos created from those Instagram lives, and I have content for miles and miles for Pinterest, for blogs that are being repurposed, and that is because I just kept making the Instagram lives. I kept making the videos. I kept showing up even when nobody was clapping or listening or saying, this is speaking to me. And even though the whole time I was like, is this working? Is this working? Is this working? That's why I think I can speak to this the most, because we spend so much time asking ourselves if it's working, and that's because the fear behind it is that it's not. The fear behind it is that this isn't working, and what am I spending all my time and energy on if it's not working? But it is, because it doesn't stop working until you stop working, until you quit. And I think that you're probably sitting there thinking, well, that's easy for you to say, Jill, because you're making money. But I also started my business in 2018, and I really didn't see a jump in my income until 2020. Yes, in 2019, I made $12,000, but that was spread over 12 months, and it did not feel like a lot at all when it was happening. But in 2020, my income exploded, and a part of that was because I had built up a presence online. I had built up a brand. I had spent time recording the podcast episodes and doing the videos and doing all that stuff. And that's not saying that you can't have a moment where you blow up too. It doesn't have to take 2 years for you to really see results in your business. But the thing is you don't quit. You just keep going and you keep working on yourself. And I know I said that this episode was going to be quick, but I really need to stop saying that because obviously it's not going to be. But essentially what I wanted to get across to you is that we're always thinking about what are the average open rates and how many comments am I supposed to get and how many followers do I need to have before I can be seen as successful or whatever. And it's no problem for you to set goals to hit a certain income level or to get a certain number of followers. I'm trying to get 10,000 so I can get the swipe up link. Yeah, cool. But I'm not making the fact that I don't have 10,000 followers mean anything about me. It just means that right now I'm at 3,300, I think, at this point. And I can still make tons of money and still have an impact with those 3,300 followers. You know what I'm saying? If you always compare yourself against the average, you yourself will always be average, plain as day. But you're not here to be average. You're here to change people's lives. You're here to make tons of money. You're here to do the things that you want to do And why the fuck would you strive to be average? And that's all I gotta say today. Remember that the From Imposter to Empowered program will definitely help you not feel average and will help you feel capable of everything that you want to achieve. The waitlist drops on Monday, but for you podcast listeners, it is going to be at the link in my show notes as you're listening to this. So sneak your way onto that, and I cannot wait to serve you and help you change your life in 2021. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Leave a review so I can continue to make amazing free content for you guys. And speaking of free content, you can go to the link in my show notes and download my free 30-day journaling prompt workbook to help you overcome your inner imposter and attract the abundance you deserve. And finally, screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram story, tagging me at yourcoachjill so I can share it on my page. See you next time.